get to know your soil,
Right.
know what's going on.
Right.
So,
Get your soil right, or what do you say? Get your dirt right.
yeah.
The My Soil folks, I watched their little podcast that they had with Alan, and they talk about how they kind of simulate like a plant tissue test in your soil, which is a little bit different than those Malic 3 tests that we get from the university extensions or somewhere like one of these agriculture labs that you used. So they're going to give different results. To kind of make the decisions that I want to be making, I look for the whole kind of spectrum of data, and that's going to be from the ag labs and the extensions from those Malic 3 tests, or from the tests that they give. So not to say one's better than the other, they're just kind of different. And I find the other ones a little bit more useful, like you did too. So.
Yeah, and I think the point with that, I did like Alan's breakdown with the My Soil. That was great, and I think the Yard Mastery / My Soil is great for somebody that just kind of wants to know the bare bones. What can they do? Just jumping in, where are they at? Looking at Logan Labs now, I don't know how this compares to like Waypoint. I don't see a lot of the optimal ranges. I guess I should take that back. Under like calcium, magnesium, potassium, they give you like your
desired levels. Yep.
Now, between the calcium, magnesium, and potassium, why are those three? Why are they going to show you those three desired levels?
Everything kind of has a desired value. Even the Logan Labs, they spell it out for the calcium, magnesium, and potassium. But everything else kind of has an ideal level. So like I said, they give you the levels for those three, and then we got to kind of go out and do a little bit of digging for all the other levels. Give Matt Martin a lot of credit. He has a really good video about how to interpret your soil test results. So that's definitely worth a watch to kind of figure out what you're seeing and what you kind of want to get to. So everything has a level that it should be or could be. And you just got to kind of, know those little things to do to kind of get there.
My 2020 results for my front yard, and this was taken in July of 2020. They're saying my pH level was optimal at a 6.9. Just in February, when I tested it again, and it jumped up to a 7.2. So about 7 months, it jumped up pretty significantly.
And I mean, it may have a little bit to do with like an inconsistency in the sampling that you did. We got to learn that you have to be consistent with like the depth that you're taking your soil samples. You have to be consistent at like the time of the year you're taking your soil samples when you're doing your soil test, so that way you can kind of control for those variables from test to test. On the Logan Labs test from this year, you're definitely high. And even at 6.9, you were kind of starting to get into the high territory. But we're seeing the 8s now on your Logan Labs.
I was very shocked with the pH soil samples from Logan Labs. That's really high.
If you want to verify that, is just do some like litmus paper tests. You can get a little pack of like the pH strips on Amazon. Mix it with a little bit of mix some soil with distilled water. Let it sit for a little bit, and then just dip the strip into the liquid. And it'll tell you the pH of that soil sample. And you could do that, throughout your whole lawn to kind of verify the high pH that you have. And realistically, getting your pH down is your biggest priority this year. And the good news is, as the pH changes, you'll start to see the other nutrient levels start to kind of change. As we get closer to, those mid to lower 6 pH levels, 6.0 to 6.5, that's where the most nutrients are sort of unlocked within your soil. That's why that level is the most ideal, because that's the pH where the most nutrients are available within your soil. And I'm in the same kind of boat as you. I have a little bit of a high pH as well. So, I'm going to need something like 50 pounds of citric acid powder this year for my lawn. So that is the biggest priority for this year, is getting your pH down. So that way we kind of see how the other nutrient levels change in next year's test.
And, I'm excited to see what's going to happen, how much my pH is actually going to change this year.
Your CECs and your organic matter percentages are, you have about 17 CEC in the front yard, about 15.5 in the backyard. And then your organic matter is 3% in the front and 2% in the back. And, those are pretty good levels. Where, my lawn, my CECs are through the roof. I'm like 28 CEC, I think. And my organic matter is over 5%. And that's just, my Missouri clay soil that I have. So, that's why knowing this kind of stuff is so important to being able to make the right decisions and build the right plan. So that way you can, have everything right from, literally from the ground up, from the dirt, your soil, and what you're putting into your plants and what you're putting into your grass. So that way everything is as healthy as it can be and as ideal as it can be to grow as well as it can. And that's why having a soil test is so important. You have a few options. You have elemental sulfur applications. You can do citric acid sprays, or you can use ammonium sulfate as your nitrogen source in your fertilizers. So what I would recommend for you, Cody, is the ammonium sulfate for your fertilizer and the citric acid sprays, 1 pound per 1,000 per month. And, I think that'll really start to bring down your pH to more ideal levels. And we can kind of see where we are next year.
Just to kind of, give people an idea of the acids that you're talking about, the sulfur that you're talking about. I mean, are these things that are, I guess, you can Amazon or Home Depot or or should you go to like a nursery or whatever it may be?
And if you're looking for a specific type of fertilizer, you're going to have the best results. If you have like a turf store, there's some online options that might work for people as well. If you have to resort to somewhere like Amazon, you're going to pay a little bit more and kind of get a little bit less. You could buy like 10-pound bags on Amazon. Even straight ammonium sulfate, I think it's 2100 is the NPK analysis on that. You can buy that on Amazon as well. But again, I have Site One, I have Advanced Turf Solutions, I have other sort of specialty turf stores nearby that I can use to get that as well.
Site One, I think it's is it BWI?
Something like that. Ewing is another option too.
Yeah. But Ewing and Site One, I mean, all those two are going to be good. Those are going to be the ones I have to do some research in and get in and see what I can do. Because I was thinking about Earth Science, the fast-acting sulfur.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, like you said, it's 5 pounds per 1,000, 10 pounds, and that's basically you might be able to get down 2 applications a year, preferably, spring and fall. And that's basically it.
Yeah. I think you want to kind of stay under 2 pounds per 1,000 per application, up to 10 pounds per 1,000 per year. For those topical kind of spreader applications, I think those, a little bit of a lower limit is what we kind of run into to avoid damaging the turf grass.
The salt flush.
Yeah.
And, I didn't get in too much detail with the salt flush. Do you have an idea of what, just a simple summary of what the salt flush could do?
Yeah. If you have a high sodium level, the salt flush products work. You got to kind of think back to like 10th, 11th grade chemistry class. So the salt flush products are like a calcium product. And when you spray the calcium into the soil at the elemental level, the calcium displaces the sodium within your soil, and then the sodium can flush out. So that's how at the most basic level, how the salt flush products work. You got to kind of remember back to, all the cations and all that stuff to actually understand, the chemistry. But, at a basic level, the calcium gets in there and displaces the sodium molecules, and then the sodium molecules flush out of the soil. I think that's something you could look at doing.
Yeah. For instance, what I was talking about before with, where it should be, where it is, are the, like sulfur, for instance, 14 in the front yard, 13 in the backyard kind of thing. Where should those be?
For sulfur, you want to be around 50 parts per million. And that's where I've, what I've learned in just reading some academic articles. Like you said, you're learning from, being on the podcast, and I try to learn from, finding as many academic articles that I can, and reading the studies, and kind of seeing what the turf science people are saying about what we want for our lawns. And, getting out there and learning. I like doing that. I like reading. I like figuring this stuff out. So that's what I've done to kind of learn all this stuff, and finding those reputable sources like Matt Martin's videos when he gets up and stands up in front of the whiteboard. You're going to learn something when he's doing that. So those are great ways to learn along with him and learn what he's teaching.
When I first started watching YouTube guys doing all this, I came across Matt Martin, and at the time I was just like, man, I don't want to watch that right now. I kind of want to see some cutting, or I want to see something going on. But he was just breaking it down. He was diving deep into everything, like you said, the whiteboard. And now I know this year I've really tried to watch his videos and understand what he's saying.
And as once you get a little bit more advanced and kind of down the rabbit hole on all this science, that's where you start to get to people like Matt Martin and his live help desk that he does on the weekends, and his whiteboard sessions, and the other sort of more professional applicators, professional turf grass scientists. Nothing is simple in this, and if you oversimplify something, you're missing a lot of the nuance that's going to let you make the good decisions. But if you kind of break something that's not simple down into simple terms, that's where I think that's like the most beautiful thing you can do in the world for somebody when you're teaching them, is give them like a simple answer to a hard problem. Break down something that's difficult into simple terms, and help people understand and learn along the way. And that's awesome. That's what we're trying to do.
This year I'm just like, oh man, I really gotta think about what I'm throwing out there.
Right.
And now that I'm thinking about it so much, I'm just like, I think I'm thinking about it too much.
There's a lot that goes in as you're seeing, right? You can get lost in how much there is to think about when doing the right things for your lawn. It's not as simple as back. I kind of wish I was just back in the days of just doing the Scott's 4-step program and not knowing. I feel like I took the blue pill in Matrix or whatever that was to see the light. I wish I never would have done
that. You're telling me my wife feels the same way.
Yeah.
Definitely. Here these last couple months is really been diving deep for me into the university studies.
You can access your university extension is a great resource. I'm sure that my agronomist would love if I called them and talked to them, about all this stuff, because that's what they do. That's what they live for. That's their jobs. It might not be a local person, but it's at least someone you can talk to, someone you can email to help learn and understand, how to make these decisions too, and get the good information.
Knows, but I appreciate you coming on, man. And so we have Sean from Sean's Midwest Lawn. You do not have a YouTube, correct?
No, I focus mostly on Instagram. I'm at Sean's Midwest Lawns, part of the Keep Off the Grass podcast livecast family with Cody as well. So you can find me through there, and you can find me on Instagram.
But again, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Again, you guys can find him on Instagram.
Yeah, Sean's Midwest Lawn on Instagram.